Hanging off the side of Mount Rushmore, it's the IGN Digigods. And now, please welcome two men who didn't fall for super spy Eve Kendall, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Yeah, a North by Northwest reference. Corey, who sent that one in?
I don't know.
Oh.
Sorry, my thumb was over it. Kevin Lower.
There we go.
We've never had that before.
Yeah, Eve Kendall. Gosh, Eva Marie Saint was just great in that movie. Brassy blonde, one of those Hitchcockian brassy blondes.
She's still around, Eva Marie Saint.
I know she is. Mark, turn your phone off.
Hang on, wait a second.
This is so unprofessional.
The problem is I can't. You know why I can't turn my phone off?
Why can't you turn
because
your phone off?
the on-off button on my iPhone is broken. I'm not kidding. I went to the Apple Store today. And so literally, normally you would press the power button to send this call to voicemail. I cannot press the power button because the power button doesn't work anymore. So now I must wait until it is done ringing, and then it automatically goes to voicemail.
Your phone is permanently on.
Correct. I cannot turn this phone off. I mean, no. What happens is that if you don't use the phone for 15 seconds, it powers the screen down.
Right.
So it's not like I'm wasting the battery all the time. But I can't turn the phone off.
No, think of it this way: you might be in a situation where you couldn't turn it on.
That is correct. But here's the thing: is that I figured I would upgrade and get a 4S, but I am not eligible for the upgrade price of a 4S for another 3 weeks. So I said to the lady, I'm like, just give me the phone. I mean, come on. You're really going to make me wait 3 weeks? Who cares? Wouldn't you rather have my money now? Isn't my money today better than my money 3 weeks from now? I will give you my money now. No, you got to wait till you're officially eligible.
Oh my gosh!
God damn it! Stop it. Yes, Wade.
A lot of interesting things happening in the world of companies that release DVDs and Blu-rays. Distributors is what we call them in the biz. We call them distributors.
In the biz.
Others call them just DVD companies. But a lot of interesting things. You heard about this, right? That Cinedigm is now acquiring New Video. Did you hear about that?
I did not know that. Yeah. What does that mean to the average DVD lover?
Nothing, really. It means very little.
Well, the thing is that Cinedigm and New Video, they're going to form like this all digital studio.
Yes.
That they'll use to do whatever the heck.
But there's all these other consolidations going on, like the BET billionaire guy. What's
Robert
his name?
Johnson.
Yeah, he's acquiring Image and Acorn. Which, if you think about it, BET and Acorn, perfect fit.
Oh yeah.
Acorn. I love Acorn, but it's all British, old vintage British television with old white people in it. So I find the whole thing to be really kind of a fascinating fusion. Anyway, it's an interesting time because this consolidation is suggesting that there's still not just life left in DVD distribution companies, but that clearly somebody out there and some very important people don't think that packaged media is going away. They think that this is an ongoing, living, vibrant industry, and it's going to coexist alongside streaming. So
I hope so, because
stay tuned, folks.
Well, because New Video had a partner deal with iTunes.
Yes,
and that goes back a couple of years where they would, independent films, older TV shows, X number of thousands of titles would be available on Apple's iTunes. And although what I do like about the deal, it's getting into the weeds now. But what I do like about the deal is that Cinedigm is the CEO of Cinedigm is Chris McGurk.
Yes.
Who used to run Overture.
Overture. Who we met.
He's a smart guy.
He's a great guy. I mean, look, Overture was a thriving company and could really have had a lot left in it, but the people at Liberty Media, which is owned by John Malone, who owned Overture, they just got sick of the movie business. It's not because it wasn't making money. It just didn't fit their impatience, which is true for a lot of people. It's like, oh, my gosh, really? We got to wait until these movies make money? We can't just, knock this thing down right now? The nature of the movie business does not suit your typical Wall Street executive mentality. So Liberty Media just said, "Screw you, we're done with Overture," and McGurk was out on his butt, unfortunately. But he's a smart guy. We've been to his house. He's a lovely man, and
well, when we were there, he had a very nice house in Beverly Hills. Like this is like
that's still his house.
Was that still?
He didn't lose his house. Overture didn't own the house.
Well, I didn't know whether maybe he sold it because he wanted to.
Maybe.
But it was in Beverly Hills, like in the area where when you take friends who are from out of town, and they want to see those houses, you go up those streets that he lives on.
And there's a reason why the French consulate is there, and why I never miss a chance to go and have cheese and crackers and all kinds of small little hors d'oeuvres and quiches and things in the backyard of the French consulate.
You never invite me to those things.
You're not on the VIP list.
Yeah, but you have a +1.
Yeah, not always. Actually, not always.
Yeah, you made that up.
It's true, not always. I can't even take Christy sometimes.
All right, well, here's the thing. Speaking of not always, we're not always talking about Blu-rays because we're prattling on about crap like that.
Let's do this. Let's. We still have. We got so overloaded on kid stuff and KidVid for the longest time, and I still have this giant pile that I need to just plow through. So let me blow through these titles, and I will let you prep some of these splashy, wonderful things. These new releases that are very pertinent and germane to people's lives.
Okay.
I don't know. Honestly, I look at some of this stuff that's made for kids, and I just want to cry because it's tweaked. It's just wrong. When I was a kid, we watched normal, non-psychedelic, twisted, weird crap like Hobo Kelly and Bozo the Clown. And now we get stuff like, I'm sorry, who are you people that allow your children to watch La La Loopsy? What is this? Adventures in La La Loopsy Land? This is very, very wrong. It's not right. This is the Adventures in La La Loopsy Land, The Search for Pillow. The Search for Pillow, Mark.
You know what? It's on your bed, case closed.
Oh, my gosh.
That's what the pillow is.
Well, this is clearly designed more for little girls than anything else. It's the whole style of animation is like it's like needlepoint. It's as if everything is stitched to the wall. It's very peculiar and a little bit cute and cloying, and I don't really get it, but I'm sure there are little girls everywhere who just would throw rocks at me for saying that. Also, another Angelina Ballerina Ultimate Dance Collection has come out. This is just the creepiest stuff ever. Angelina Ballerina is already creepy. It's this rodent, the pink rodent in the tutu. I can't handle it. Pop star girls dancing on ice, the Shining Star Trophy. Angelina, you were created by a very, very strange and tweaked individual. By the way, late a few nights ago, I was watching a rerun of H.R. Puffin stuff.
For some reason.
That is so wrong. That is just a wrong show.
It's Puff. Puff. It's a big pot dream. Didn't we talk about this last week? It's a big, gigantic pot dream.
We have, but it's just crazy. The Wild Thornberrys Season 2. This is also tweaked, but it's a little bit more my speed. This is a Nickelodeon show. We've talked about it a million times. The Wild Thornberrys had a surprisingly successful movie some years back. This is from 1999 to 2000. It's a good 13-some-odd years old, but still holds up. This is from Shout Factory, and actually really kind of long overdue to get to... Well, anyway, Season 2, Part 2, I should say. It's not Part 1. They're doing the thing where they release these in seasonal halves. But, Thornberrys is it's that cool, twisted animation that is sort of transmogrified in television lately. I don't know why. And then we also have another Elmo disc here. This is for the Sesame Street Elmo discs, Big Elmo Fun. I have a whole newfound respect for Elmo since, as you may have heard last week when we talked about the documentary about the man who does the voice of Elmo, which is one of the most touching documentaries I've ever seen. It is terrific, and now I can't watch Elmo anymore and just think, what a stupid Muppet you are. I just think, what an amazing American success story you are. So I admit it, I'm a sap, I'm a sucker, I'm down with Elmo now.
Oh, you're a sucker, I know that. That I can vouch for.
Yeah, just do your work over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Dougie in Disguise. This is Volume 2 from the Organic Kids line, and we haven't gotten an awful lot of Organic Kids stuff, but I guess there's more and more coming out. Anyway, this is 14 episodes from the Dougie in Disguise series. And if you don't know what this is, Dougie is it's kind of like what's the anime with the spiky-headed dude? You know what I'm talking about.
Bart Simpson.
No. Well, anyway, Bart Simpson's better. Yeah, doesn't he look kind of like Bart Simpson a little bit?
I know he looks like he looks like a 2-year-old baby version of Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes.
That's probably a good analogy. Well, anyway, the idea here is that Dougie and his dog Tim like to play dress up, and he winds up doing being in disguise, all kinds of things. Like at one point, he's a pimp. Elsewhere, he's a terrorist. No, I'm not serious. He dresses up like a film director, which I think we could say about half the directors in Hollywood. They're playing dress up as film directors. A toadstool, an astronomer, a polar bear, a boatman, a policeman. I got a little bit worried when they had him dressing up as a florist and a hairdresser. I sort of felt, you know what, children aren't quite ready for that, I don't think. But then again, I thought, no, don't be homophobic, Wade. It's okay. There are a lot of hairdressers and florists who aren't necessarily gay, and that's not, sexual preference is not a part of one's profession. So don't go there. And then I came to my senses, a little bit.
What are you talking about?
I have no idea. I'm rambling. That's all I'm doing. Ben 10, Ultimate Alien, the ultimate ending. Good grief! Thank you for bringing this to a conclusion. Freaking Ben 10. It's like.
There's been so many Ben 10 DVDs.
Gosh, it's just.
And by the way, the ultimate ending. You know what that means? That means there's another
series. I know. It's endless. But anyway, this is one of the more popular things from Cartoon Network. I'm not entirely sure why, but I'm glad that at least there's a Ben 10 release that has the word ending in it. Shaun the Sheep, Sheer Madness. You get it? Sheer Madness, SHEAR. Sheep and pigs and aliens. Oh my. The Shaun the Sheep thing has never been quite as funny as it was originally in its holiday incarnations. But you know what? It's awfully hard to dislike anything that comes out of Aardman. And speaking of that, I'm supposed to see the Pirates movie this week.
I got the invite to that, but I'm not going.
You're not going?
No, I'm going to New Orleans.
On Tuesday?
Huh? It's tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
Oh. I could have gone then. Not going to New Orleans until Thursday. I've never been to New Orleans. Everybody, email us at gods and Digigods, gods at Digigods.com and tell me where I should eat.
Yeah.
I've heard that New Orleans is just an orgy of amazing food.
I
cannot wait.
One of the great food cities in the world. And I don't speak from experience because I've never been there.
Cannot wait.
Yo Gabba Gabba, Super Spies. Yo Gabba Gabba is even more tweaked than the Teletubbies. I love the Teletubbies, and then Yo Gabba Gabba came around, and I just thought, no, can't go there. This is 3 installments from Yo Gabba Gabba, Mystery, Space, and Big. They don't have anything to do with each other, but they have to actually do these compilation things because otherwise parents wouldn't have anything to do with their children in the morning.
You got a point.
Yep. And I know my hair covers it. Super Jail Season 2. Honestly, I don't know what goes on over there at Adult Swim. Write us at gods@digigods.com and tell us, are we too old for Adult Swim? Are we too old to understand this?
I like some Adult Swim stuff. I finally turned the corner on the claymation show, whatever it's called. I forgot.
Yeah.
Not claymation.
Stop motion.
The thing that the kid from Family Guy does. Oh, my God.
I understand. I know.
So sad.
It's been a long life.
It really has.
Yeah. No, the Super Jail. Seriously, I just don't get it.
What's that show called? It's called Robot Chicken.
Yes.
That's
an easy title to remember.
I like Robot Chicken now.
So explain Super Jail to me.
It's like Robot Chicken, except it's not.
Because like this one episode, the budding of the Werbucks with 2 X's. I don't get it. Anyway, 10 episodes. If you're a total LSD addict, only then and then will it make sense to you. Here we go. Cartoon Network is starting to get a little Adult Swimmy too with this kind of stuff. Regular show Slack Pack, 12 episodes. This has been, well, here's the thing. This is sort of how animation goes. Let's think of 2 animals that would never, ever be caught dead in each other's company, and let's make them buddies, or kind of adversarial buddies, like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, a rabbit and a duck. Oh, isn't that funny? Or a mouse and a duck. Oh, that's so funny. or like, even a cat and a dog, Ren and Stimpy, which neither of them look like. I mean, you can't tell that they are even a cat and a dog. And here we've got a bird and a raccoon. Okay, I guess. Okay, sure. Write us at godsdigigods.com and tell me what I'm missing. Moving very quickly through this because we do have some really good movies to talk about. Stella.
No, wait! Keep going with those DVDs.
I know.
You know what? You know what? I can feel new people joining our Facebook page right now as we speak. As you talk about Stella Luna.
Stella Luna is actually really, really good. This is from Scholastic, which is part of New Video, which is soon to be part of Cinedigm. And this is based on an award-winning book, and this is like this. Here we go. This is more my speed. It's kind of Don Bluthie animation, and it's really, really sweet. It's a very, very famous children's book, and I had not heard of it, but I went and actually checked out the book after this came in, and it's a good book. Like, I would allow children of mine, even though I have none, but I would allow children of mine to read this and watch this and not feel as though their brains are being rewired to become serial killers, like a lot of the other stuff we've talked about. But anyway, Stella Luna, believe it or not, is a fruit bat. I know that sounds strange and that sounds tweaked, but you know what? It's a good time. Good time with the fruit bat. Really quickly winding up here, we've got Fireman Sam in Rescue on the Water. I think that speaks for itself. Animals United, Adventure in Africa. This is a rather strange attempt by the people at Arc Entertainment to do, what's that DreamWorks? Mark, hey, wake up. That DreamWorks thing.
Sorry, fruit bat?
Africa,
Madagascar.
Madagascar. This is an attempt by the people at Arc Entertainment to do their own kind of Madagascar thing. Doesn't really work. Also from Scholastic is Mo Willems' Pigeon and Pals, which is the complete cartoon collection, volumes 1 and 2. There's 6 stories here, and if you don't know, if you're not familiar with this, you ought to be, because this is like classic old school, kind of super rough, almost elementary school type animation, but it's just something really warm and engaging about it. And it includes Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, The Pigeon Finds a Hot Dog, Knuffle Bunny, Cautionary Tale, Knuffle Bunny 2, Case of Mistaken Identity, Leonardo the Terrible Monster, Naked Mole Rat Gets Dressed. You love those naked mole rats. Mark, naked mole rats.
I'm not bailing you out.
Bob's Burgers, the complete first season. You loved this thing, didn't you? Bob's Burgers? Didn't you? No?
It's Fox's latest attempt to launch another animation show, which, by the way, is like not a Groening or McFarlane animated show.
It's not, but it's good. I like it. I do. And you know what the interesting thing is about Bob's Burgers? I was not on board until I realized that they were doing a total cross-promotional tie-in with Fat Burger, because I eat a lot at Fat Burger. I love Fat Burger. I love their turkey burgers. Double turkey burger with cheese, no mayo.
How many grams of fat is a double turkey burger with cheese, no mayo at Fat Burger? Do you know?
I don't know, but I'm sure it's more once you haven't ordered their fries. And a strawberry shake. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know it. Anyway, I saw Bob's Burgers things all over the place at Fat Burger, and I thought, damn it, I'm going to watch that show because I'm going to be faithful to Fat Burger. And then lastly is another one of these stupid Cartoon Network Lego shows, Ninjago, the Masters of Spin Jitsu. I'm sorry, I love everything to do with ninjas, and I just think this is the dumbest thing ever. I'm so sick of all of this Lego stuff. Lego and Legoland and all the rest of it.
No, Legoland rules.
Oh, kids.
No, it's great. You wouldn't think it's great, but it's great. Legoland. It's so good.
That's it. I'm done. Mark, tell us what's
done. All right.
Yeah. Okay. That's it for that stuff. So tell us, what do we have in the wonderful world of movies?
What do we have in the wonderful world of DVDs people actually want to hear about?
That's it.
We have a new Men in Black film coming out, which I'm sure will be terrible. And in the celebration of that fact, we have, once again on Blu-ray, I remember in 2003 when Men in Black 1 came out on Superbit, which was the Sony Columbia super high-quality DVD format.
It was hokey. The whole thing was a bill of goods.
It was, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? Superbits, they were popular. They charged extra for them, and people bought them. Anyway, now we have on Blu-ray Men in Black and Men in Black 2, both directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, the former cinematographer for the Coen brothers. And Men in Black 2, very funny. Men in Black 2, you know what? The problem with sequels is when they
because Men in Black came out already on Blu-ray in 2008.
Yes.
So this is but Men in Black 2 didn't, which is weird.
Well, the transfer is basically the same, but what I don't like about Men in Black 2 is what happens with a lot of sequels, which is they they misidentify what made the first one so good. So in Men in Black 2, you get more effects. You get more aliens. That's not the point. That's not what made Men in Black funny.
Could I just say this?
It was part of what made it funny, but it wasn't the heart of it.
Let me just tell you something.
No.
I know in theory I should be hating the idea of Men in Black 3, but Josh Brolin as a young Tommy Lee Jones, I like it.
You're on board?
I'm on board. I like it.
Although, are you on board with the idea that Barry Sonnenfeld recently, not only is Barry Sonnenfeld into 3D, but get this will make your cheese curdle.
Yeah.
Barry Sonnenfeld actually prefers post-converted 3D over native 3D. Swear to God, that's what he said. I think it was on IndieWire.com.
He's lying.
He prefers
lying.
post-converted.
Look, I don't even think he prefers 3D. I think he's saying whatever he feels he needs to say to sell the movies, because Barry Sonnenfeld, by his own admission, is lazy and just loves the money, and it's all for the paycheck.
That's true. He is lazy.
He's lazy, and he admits it.
Anyway, Men in Black, they're both good looking. But again, it's not much of an upgrade from the old Blu-ray. But special features.
And I did the Men in Black junket. I remember the Men in Black junket very well. And Barry Sonnenfeld came in a very nice suit and tie and told us how lazy he was. And Will Smith came in and owned the room. And Tommy Lee Jones scared everyone half to death.
That's what he does.
And there it is.
Special features on Men in Black 2 I thought were better because there's a blooper reel and an alternate ending and 5 featurettes. But still, if you're a Men in Black completist, go for it. One of the big ones this week, maybe the biggest one of the week, is the beautiful Blu-ray of Camelot.
Oh,
Camelot!
That is a fantastic Blu-ray.
It's a fantastic Blu-ray.
Another one of those great Warner Blu-ray books.
It's great. And, I'll tell you, this movie was nominated for, 3 Oscars, something like that? This is the 45th anniversary edition of Camelot. It was up for, 3 Oscars. I don't know how many it won. But this is a gorgeous, gorgeous Blu-ray.
And I got to say, here's the thing, because I'm very, very mixed on the movie. The Blu-ray is fantastic. If you love the movie, you're going to go nuts for this thing. I mean, it's just a great, spectacular, technicolor, musical phenomenon. A lot of people have maligned the movie, and I think rightly on a certain level, because the stage production was first rate. It was, the most amazing cast of all time. It was Julie Andrews and Richard Burton and Robert Goulet, right? That was the trio. And you're like, amazing, awesome. There you go, Lerner and Lowe, the perfect voices to render that. And then for the movie, you wound up with Vanessa Redgrave, Richard Harris,
right.
And
Franco Nero.
Franco Nero? Who
Yes.
can't sing
No,
to save his soul?
Yeah,
like
but
with that thick Spanish accent? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but Franco Nero he plays.
But he and Vanessa Redgrave basically, hooked up on this movie, and then had, children, and then never married, and then they recently got married in their old age, and it's the romance of a lifetime. So, from a Hollywood kind of superstar, amazing romance standpoint, this is the backstory to this movie is almost more interesting than the movie. But that being said, I have warmed to it. It was criticized at the time for having too many close-ups and not really, Josh Logan was not like the right director for this material. He wasn't really a great musical director. People felt he was kind of, leaning on a lot of stale technique, and he wasn't like a Stanley Donen or any of the guys who were really, really.
You know what? But I love South Pacific, and he had done South Pacific.
You
also.
love South Pacific?
I do. I love.
Do you really?
I love the music.
Are you kidding me?
I love the music for that.
You do realize that we went and saw a restored version of that projected in 70 millimeter at the Academy about 4 or 5 months ago.
I didn't see that,
and we nearly killed ourselves.
I would have seen that. I love the music.
They had what's her face was there? Was it Mitzi?
Ken Darby. I don't know who.
No,
Mitzi Gaynor?
I think isn't Mitzi's in it, right? Is that Mitzi?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was there. She was there. Yeah, she's like a million
How do you
years
get
old.
Wait, how do you get invited to these Academy things? I only get invited to a couple of them.
I'm on the Academy mailing list.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I get on the Academy mailing list?
Yeah, just sign up online for crying out loud.
Do that right now.
Do it. But it was interminable. And the only thing that salvaged it was Uncle Martin from My Favorite Martian. He's the only thing that made it watchable. That thing just was never ending. My gosh, it was horrible.
I love the music.
Yeah, well, anyway.
That's it. Anyway, this is a great. It's a great Blu-ray. Love it, love it, love it. This includes a CD soundtrack with 4 songs, and it's got the making of the film and a commentary by Stephen Farber, our good friend from LAFCA.
You know who was on the panel that I moderated last Friday?
Stephen Farber.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, just saw him on Friday. No, that was the Colcoa closed on Sunday, and on Friday we screened the restored print of Le Sauvage, the old Jean-Paul Rapneau film from 1975, which is basically like a French screwball comedy version of The African Queen with Yves Montand and Catherine Deneuve.
Whatever, and then, you're a nerd.
And then afterwards, we had a lovely panel on the legacy of Yves Montand with his last. What are you talking about?
Nerd.
Thank you. No, with his last wife and with Stephen Farber and with the head of the French Cinematheque. They were all on the panel with me, and it was lovely.
Well, here it is. To subscribe to the HTML email version of the Academy Events Calendar. Is that what it is, the Academy Events Calendar?
Yes, that's what that would be.
Please send an email to subscribe calendar list. Now, do I have to say that I'm like the coolest guy ever and I'm with Lafka? Or
no, just anybody can sign up for that.
Really?
Yeah. But, okay. Go ahead, do it. Get it going.
I'm actually know what I'm on right now. All right, you know what? In about 1914, there was a famous French cliffhanger series called The Perils of Pauline.
Oh my gosh!
And The Perils of Pauline, pretty famous at the time. In fact, they remade it in the early 30s, 1933, and that version, 12 thrilling episodes of The Perils of Pauline, is now available via VCI.
There's a version of The Perils of Pauline that I love, and it's not that one. The one that I love is the one that everyone else hates. It is that totally spoofy, camped-up version with Terry Thomas and Pat Boone. I love it. I admit it. I love it. There it is. I love it.
Well, The Perils of Pauline will mean nothing to 99.9% of the people who listen to this podcast, but The Perils of Pauline was very, very famous at the time. Again, it was French, and then it was American, and it became like a bit of a catchphrase for women in trouble and women getting in trouble in film. Oh, it's The Perils of Pauline. But it's good stuff. It's all obviously black and white. We're talking 1933. In fact, the rumor is that because they shot a lot of these in the Palisades of New Jersey, which is a big cliff. The Palisades is like a big sheer cliff in New Jersey. They shot a lot of these there. That's where they got the term cliffhanger. That is the rumor. Don't know if it's true.
Yes.
Anyway, good stuff. 12 exciting, thrilling, dangerous, adventuresome hours of The Perils of Pauline on DVD. Good stuff.
Well, as long as you've opened the door to that, I'm going to mention a trio of Rank Collection films from VCI as well. The Rank Collection is an ongoing release series that they have going through VCI. J. Arthur Rank, for those who don't know, was the guy he was just a big mogul, and he stepped into the British film industry and threw a lot of money at renovating and re-upping the British film industry after World War II. And to some degree before World War II, but it was really after World War II that he kind of kicked it into second gear and basically helped start the career of David Lean. Anyway, the Rank Collection includes films all across that spectrum, before and after World War II. And there's a trio of them this week from VCI that are quite interesting. Power, a.k.a. Jesus, is a kind of a notorious 1934 British film based on the same novel that the infamous German silent film was based on, which is one of the most sort of notoriously anti-Semitic stories of all time. The whole thing is about a Jew that doesn't really respect his station, and it's kind of weird that they would not put an audio commentary on this, which I totally expected them to do, but they didn't. So that's a strange thing. There was a documentary about a year and a half, 2 years ago about the guy who did the silent version, the German film, and the effect it had on his career. And that's an awfully good film and very interesting. But this is really kind of a peculiarity, and I really think VCI kind of missed an opportunity to do something historical with this, to really call attention to the legacy of this. But anyway, then we also have another Carry On double feature. They've been doing all these Carry On films all over again. And, there was a box set of all the Carry On films years ago, and if you missed out on it, well, then you have to collect them all one at a time now. Fortunately, there's 2 on each one. This is Volume 3. It features Carry On Camping and Carry On Again Doctor. The Carry On films they defined British comedy for several generations. They went on endlessly. This one was made in 1969, and, they're all kind of the same. And then lastly, Conrad Veidt, who also stars in Power, a.k.a. Jesus, also shows up alongside Madeleine Carroll in I Was a Spy. This is from 1933, And it's a First World War story that actually feels an awful lot like a Second World War story about two Belgians who are spies for the Allies. And it's kind of, we've seen these kinds of films around World War II all the time. But, it's interesting seeing one that comes from a very, very early sound period that has, in terms of style, it's actually quite sophisticated. So you've got to kind of tip your hat to the people who made this at the wonderful Rank organization at the time. This is a pretty, it's not a great film, but it has a place in film history, and I think it's a little bit overlooked. So I Was a Spy, worth checking out.
Wade, shut up. Okay, we have from the good folks at Mill Creek, they have taken as many public domain films as they can possibly shove into one set. In this case, there's like 30 films here, and they put it all into a big box set called Timeless Family Classics. You know what's funny is how the box, the copy on the back of the box says, 60 hours of family entertainment or enjoyment. Enjoy hours of Hollywood's all-time family masterpieces. Yet, you know what? I'm looking at these films. I don't know if they're all-time family masterpieces. I have to be honest with you. I think this is basically just a bunch of public domain crap that they threw onto a thing. Sweet. Anyway, but there are some great films here. The General is on this. Now, The General, the Buster Keaton General from 1927.
Yeah, you can get a better version of
that. There's an amazing Blu-ray
version.
The
Blu-ray from Kino for sure.
I mean, who knows what prints they're working off of to create this thing. But, there are some good films, and some of the films star, actually a lot of the films star very famous people. There's, Bob Hope and Kirk Douglas and Jack Benny and Charlie Chaplin and Douglas Fairbanks and John Wayne. So it's not like it's a bunch of nothing films, but you're not talking about John Wayne's best film.
No.
Anyway, so there's like 30 films on here. All you've never heard of. Some are pretty good. Our Town is on here with William Holden from 1940. Farewell to Arms, Laurel and Hardy, The Flying Deuces is really funny. But, look, this is something where if you see Timeless Family Classics from Mill Creek, if you see this on the shelves for $4, go for it.
Totally.
Why not? Wade, there's an old Charlton Heston film called Pony Express. And,
oh, my gosh. Really?
What?
Is that out?
Yes. It's from 1953.
Right.
I've actually read about the Pony Express. You would not be surprised to learn that I have read about the Pony Express. There's actually a very good book about the Pony Express called Orphans Preferred, which I have read.
Really?
Yes.
That's
and
interesting.
I didn't realize how the Pony Express worked, and and why it came to be, and why it eventually only lasted 18 months. People make movies about the Pony Express, including this one. They write books about the Pony Express and whatever, sing songs. Pony Express lasted for 18 months.
Really? That's it?
That's it.
Just a year and a half.
And then the Telegraph came, and that was the end of it.
Wow.
Anyway, this film here, Pony Express, stars Charlton Heston and Forrest Tucker from F Troop. And it's pretty good. It's a little Hollywoodized. It's not a great film, but it's interesting. It's directed by Jerry Hopper. Don't know who he is. I don't know how many other films he directed, but he did an okay job with this. And if you're a Pony Express fan, which maybe someone in your family is, it's not bad. Pony Express with Charlton Heston.
This release actually is from Olive Films, still as part of their Paramount output deal. And we got a few other Olive titles this week. These are all the films, by the way, that sit in the Paramount library, and the Paramount people twiddle their thumbs and say, we don't really see any point in even putting the slightest bit of effort behind this, because it's not going to garner us $800 million. And then somebody like Olive comes along and says, you know what, we want that. We know an audience for that. We can market that. And they say, fine, give us $1.50 and you can do what you want. And those deals more often than not wind up with the studio feeling taken because somebody realized that there was an audience for one of their films that they didn't, which shows you how stupid the studios can be. But I think Olive is making some very smart choices. We got a film here called Hit! The artwork here is great. It's a picture of Billy D. Williams looking all young and studly and cool, wearing a suit, holding a bazooka with a giant explosion behind him. This is on DVD and Blu-ray. I got a Blu-ray in front of me here, and it is cool. This is anamorphic widescreen CinemaScope 235. It is beautifully photographed by the great John Alonzo, right around the same time that he did Chinatown. And Alonzo also did Scarface. I mean, one of the great cinematographers of all time.
And Star Trek Generations.
Yeah, we'll forget about that. But here's basically what happened. This is from 1973, and after in the wake of The French Connection, which won Best Picture in 1971, everyone suddenly wanted to make a French Connection. And so Paramount decided we're going to do one that's kind of a little bit French Connection-y and a little bit blaxploitation-y, but it's more mainstream. So they made this movie starring Billy D. Williams as a government agent who is on his way to France, to Marseille, where I actually lived, where, of course, a lot of French Connection 1 and 2 takes place. And he is going to just wreak unholy vengeance on the drug mob that is responsible for the death of his daughter. That's it. But listen to this. In addition to John Alonzo shooting this thing, you've got Lalo Schifrin doing the music, who else scored movies in the first half of the 70s? It's like all Lalo Schifrin. Enter the Dragon, Dirty Harry, you name it.
He wrote the theme to Mission Impossible.
He also wrote the theme to the first season of Starsky and Hutch. Thank you very much.
Did he really?
Yep, he sure did.
Lame.
And Sidney J. Furie directed this, who, had a pretty decent career. So it's not a great film, but it's much better than you would think it is. And Richard Pryor is surprisingly good in this. This is one of those films where you think you're watching a Billy D. Williams film, and suddenly Richard Pryor pops up, and you go, hey, right on.
Wade, I have a very clever, and I'm being a little self-congratulatory when I say this, but I have a very clever French Connection segue.
Well, then do that.
You mentioned French Connection.
Yes.
Now, I have in my hot little hands on Blu-ray badge 373, which from 1973, a great era of cop films, including French Connection.
And the film I just mentioned.
That's true.
Yes.
And this film stars and was co-written by Eddie Egan.
No kidding.
Who was...
Herman Munster's son. No? Different Eddie?
Exactly.
Oh. Richard Egan? Relationship to Richard Egan?
I can't take you anywhere.
No.
You're embarrassing.
I'm sorry.
No, Eddie Egan was one of the cops whose career was
cut short by a drug overdose.
Yes. It was actually a large spaghetti accident.
Yes.
No, Eddie Egan is one of the cops whose life was committed to film in the French Connection. He was one of the cops in the French Connection.
That's right. Yeah,
so Eddie Egan, after the French Connection, and he was in there. He was in one scene in the French Connection. He was in one scene. He did a good job. Anyway, he winds up writing Badge 373. It was based on his life, and Pete Hamill, the famous columnist, also helped.
Not to be confused with Pete Hammond
or Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
He wrote the script. So, and it stars Robert Duvall. And what's great about this film, it's not a great film, but it's pretty cool, and it's overlooked. It actually starts with the obligatory, "Give me your badge and gun." The scene where the rogue cop has the commander has finally had enough of the rogue cop because he caused an accident that destroyed 3 police cars and injured a bystander, and he says, "Turn in your badge and your gun." This movie starts with that.
Starsky and Hutch third season finale as they throw their badges into the ocean. Freeze frame.
It's the worst.
I don't know why I know that. Okay, go on.
Anyway, Badge 373. Robert Duvall plays Egan, and directed by Howard W. Koch. Right? Howard W. Koch.
Yeah.
He directed stuff.
Hawk.
Oh, yes.
Hawk.
Why not?
Yeah, we know Hawk.
Anyway, Badge 373. If you love 70s crime drama type movies, I guarantee you have never seen this, and you will not as good as the best of them, but you will enjoy it. Anyway, also on Blu-ray is The Jayhawkers, which is a pre-Civil War film. I didn't really like this because you know what? It stars Fess Parker, who I think is a cheeseball, and I don't get it. He was
Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett.
He was Davy Crockett, that's right.
He wore 2 different sets of coonskin caps.
Exactly. Anyway, it's pre-war Kansas, and a government agent tries to kind of infiltrate this vigilante group called the Jayhawkers. And, it's pretty standard Western stuff. I don't know why it's on Blu-ray. Maybe because everything's going to be on Blu-ray eventually,
well,
so why not this?
That's also part of the Olive output deal.
Wait, don't show me up.
Sorry, it's a thing, man.
Anyway, The Red House stars Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah, Moses.
Yeah, it's kind of a film noir movie, and so it's we're talking early 40s, late 50s, kind of the noir heyday. And it's a cool little film. It's got all these cool little plot twists that I was not expecting. And what I like about the Blu-ray of The Red House with Edward G. Robinson is that even though it's not an all-time classic, they did a good job putting it together. It's a two DVD set. Well, there's a Blu-ray and a DVD. There's an audio commentary trailer. It's been digitally restored, so it looks pretty good. restored from the 35 millimeter elements.
Nice.
And it's good. I mean, there are better westerns from that time, like the original 310 to Yuma and Broken Arrow and Destination, whatever it is.
Sweet.
But it's good. It's good stuff. The Red House is a film noir. I guarantee you have not seen. Just like Badge 373 is a gritty cop film you've never seen.
True.
But it's worth checking out. The Red House.
2 more from my little stack here, and then Mark, you want to talk about those books? Just a little book break in the middle of the show?
No.
Okay. Well, we're going to do it anyway. A couple of interesting oddities here. One is The Getting of Wisdom from Kino Lorber. Getting of Wisdom is an early film by Bruce Beresford, who, of course, is the great Australian director who came over in that wave that brought over all the great Australian directors like, Roger Donaldson and Peter Weir and George Miller and all of that whole crew. Anyway, this was a film that he made in the venerable year of 1977, which we usually associate with Star Wars and Close Encounters. And The Getting of Wisdom is based on a novel. It's one of those Victorian feminist tales. Lorna Doone is one of those.
Oh, I love those cookies.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, this was written by Henry Handel Richardson, and it's very Australian. It tells the story of a woman named Laura Tweedle Rambotham. Isn't that a great literary name?
Across the pond, but in America, we just laugh.
Yeah, she's basically, a female kind. She's like a female cross. She's a Dickensian character. She's very kind of Oliver Twist crossed with, I don't know, Long John Silver. And it's a very nicely done film, especially for that time, and considering how few resources they had. And you can tell Beresford is a guy on the move. He's still a very young director, and probably a lot to kind of polish up. But it's a nice little historic gem from his career that has not been available previously. So that's Kino Lorber has done us a great favor in getting that out. And then from the Warner Archive collection, which is all DVD-Rs, they're usually made to manufacture on demand MOD discs. This is a William Wellman film. That would be the same William Wellman who did Wings, the original Best Picture winner. Wellman went on to a semi-spectacular career, and this is one of his sound films, and for MGM. And it's okay. It's kind of a run-of-the-mill Western in many respects. It's a little too, I think, somewhat ambitious for its own good. It's called Westward the Women, and it stars Robert Taylor, who I've never been terribly fond of, and Denise Darcel, and it just feels like a very shrill pioneer melodrama most of the time, but some people like that kind of thing. So what you get here is an audio commentary with film historian Scott Amon and some, vintage featurette and trailer material. And if this is your kind of thing, knock yourselves out. But Westward the Women is kind of, I think, a deservedly forgotten genre film.
Yeah, that's what I say.
So, Mark, we got a couple of books, and I know you were marveling at one of them because it's rather scandalous, isn't it?
It could be. Christian Bale is one of the great modern actors. I like the fact that actors of his quality do big tentpole films because it just sort of classes up the joint. So I like the fact that Christian Bale is doing Batman and Terminator and whatever. But on the other hand, I wish he would not forget where he came from.
No, I agree with you.
Now, the one thing we know about Christian Bale is that he's nuts.
Most great actors are.
Well, he has. Well, look. Do you remember in 2008, Bale like assaulted his mother and sister at a hotel?
Yeah.
Remember that? He got arrested for it.
I would have assaulted him too. They were like begging him for money, man.
You know what?
That was not classy.
I'm right there with you. And then like a few months later, he had that rant on Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, because the cinematographer was being an a-hole.
Was he? Here's the thing. Do you side with the cinematographer or Bale?
No, I side with Bale. Because I know, well, a certain friend of ours who produces a lot of commercials has worked with that DP and swears that he's a really nice professional guy. But I've talked to other people who've been on sets of other films that he has DP'd, and they say that he's a problem. He comes from commercials. He has he just totally disregards the actors. He doesn't exercise proper set etiquette, and he's known in many circles to, at least it is rumored, I should say, it is rumored that he is abusive to the camera crew. There are a lot of people who've gone on the record as saying, he's mean to people. So, I mean, look, everyone's going to pick their sides, but, obviously there's a context to that rant that we don't know all of the circumstances of, but from what I've heard, he had it coming.
Well, because I live in 2012 America, I don't care about context.
I know.
I will just spout my opinions, no matter how half-cocked they are.
There you go.
Because I'm an American in 2012. Anyway, so Christian Bale, Oscar winner, one of the great actors of his generation, and of course that means that people have to come out of the woodworks and write books about him. So we have a rather sad attempt to capitalize on the fame of Christian Bale in a book written by his former publicist and assistant named Harrison Chung. And what's funny is that this book called Christian Bale, The Inside Story of the Darkest Batman, is so larded with like Batman words and in the jacket copy, so that you're constantly reminded of who Christian Bale is. Like, for instance, Harrison Chung, who wrote this book, he is noted here twice as not just being Christian Bale's former publicist and assistant, but he's actually Christian Bale's real-life Alfred.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it actually says twice, his real-life Alfred, as if you want to make sure that we get that Batman-Alfred connection.
Yeah.
Anyway, this book, I'll say this. It's a very breezy read. It's got a lot of interesting little anecdotes because he realizes that, Harrison realizes he's got to spill it. He's got to spill it or that no one's going to read this thing. So there you go. The one thing I did read, or I did note, had nothing to do with Christian Bale, which is that I didn't realize that James Woods was offered the lead to Reservoir Dogs numerous times. Except, Tarantino wanted James Woods to star in Reservoir Dogs.
Wow.
Except for one thing. James Woods' representation, his agent, wouldn't even present the offer to James. Would not.
See that, and that happens a lot,
because
which is really awful.
You get these agents who are the gatekeepers and are paid to say no, because if you say no, you can never be wrong. And he kept that offer from James Woods, and of course, it wound up being Reservoir freaking Dogs. Anyway, that anecdote has nothing to do with Christian Bale. Anyway, the inside story of the darkest Batman, the dumbest title ever for a book like this. Again, it's a fast read. There's some good stuff in it. I don't know how much of an opportunist this guy really is. It sort of rubs me the wrong way he would do this, but what are you going to do? But this guy, Harrison, he was there through the early years of Christian Bale up through
Sweet.
Batman, and there you go.
Scandalous. I'm into it.
You know what? You love Scandal. You love Scandal the
Scandal.
movie.
Yeah.
You love the song, the band. Remember the band Scandal?
Yeah.
With Patti Smythe?
Goodbye to you.
That's right.
Hey,
Patti
goodbye
Smythe.
to you.
You know what she was back in the day?
Yeah.
Delicious.
Smoking.
Oh, yeah. One more book we have for you, Every Night the Trees Disappear, which is from Alan Greenberg, and it is about Werner Herzog and the making of Heart of Glass. Now, Werner Herzog, as you know, has had a rather lengthy and wide-ranging career. Don't you think, Wade?
Yeah, totally.
And this book is all about Herzog. Now, Herzog is a very unusual guy, and he has very unusual tastes. And Heart of Glass was a film that he had made in 1976, and it was set in Bavaria, and it was written by Herzog. And it's a funky little film, and this is all about the making of Heart of Glass. And there's a lot of great story, because back then, you were talking about films like Fitzcarraldo or whatever. Like Herzog would just go nuts to make a film.
Yeah.
Herzog and his longtime best, leading man, Klaus Kinski, the two of them together were
those were the days. Those were the
basically
days, man.
nuts. And so it's about the making of Heart of Glass. So it's good stuff. It's really much more into like just how difficult it is to make a film, what you have to endure to make a film,
especially if you're working with him.
You know what? And the psychological trauma that it takes to work with Werner Herzog and make the types of films that he liked to make back then.
There's a very funny story. I can't remember what film it was, but a friend of mine was at the DGA years ago, like 10 years ago, and they were screening some Herzog films, and and Herzog introduced the film, and then somewhere in the middle of the movie, there's this ruckus in the DGA theater, like there's this screaming, And everyone turns around, and Werner Herzog and some woman are just screaming at each other at the top of their lungs. And he gets up and walks out, and then she gets up and walks out. It was like Werner Herzog making a scene in his own movie. It's outrageously cool.
We gave him the Best Documentary Award.
Yes, we did.
This year at the LAFCA Awards. And watching him stand up at the podium.
It's pretty cool.
In front of the assembled crowd and talk in that Werner Herzogian speak.
It's a very soft German accent. He talks like Werner Herzog, and you don't realize just how crazy he is. He sounds like a very gentle man who's going to sell you some schnitzel on the corner.
And the thing is that now he narrates all his documentaries now.
Yeah, which
and
is
it's
great.
really bizarre hearing like this German accented guy.
The grizzly bear thinks that he's food. That's why he's going to eat him.
That's awesome.
That's cool. I want to check that out. I'm gonna read that book this week. We got 2 DVDs here that I'm going to mention only because, from a marketing standpoint, this is one of those things. We've talked about this every once in a while, where we'll get a couple of movies in 1 week or within a week of each other, where the marketing is exactly the same. And this is like template marketing, and it drives me crazy. The films are The Witches of Oz, which I have here on Blu-ray, and Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life, which I have on DVD. Now, Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life is this is based on some book that apparently people like a lot. I don't know, whatever. Never heard of it. It's one of those kids' books that's becoming popular now with the Harry Potters and the Twilights and the Hunger Games and all this stuff. This is about a kid who gets some kind of a magic box on his 13th birthday, and it's locked. And then he and this girl have to run around New York City or whatever city they're in and find clues to opening it up. Top-lining this, actually, it's not. They don't mention the kids. Here's who they mention. They mention Academy Award winner Mira Sorvino and Emmy Award winner Joe Pantoliano. How the mighty have fallen. I mean, Mark, seriously, come on. Is that going to do anything for their careers, to get people to take them seriously again?
No.
Okay, based on this, he's never going to win another Emmy, and she's never going to win another Oscar. This sort of says, yep, these are the movies that we make now. This is where we are.
Well, I feel bad for her. I mean, she's got that Ashley.
She's so talented.
Well, she's got that Ashley Judd thing going on, where they're very talented, they're very beautiful, but they're in their late 30s, early 40s, and they don't really know where to go, what to do. Can't get the roles. Not for them.
Sucks. Well, anyway, this next one is just a really peculiar film, and I don't think this was ever. This is from Image. I don't think this was ever intended to be theatrically released, but it certainly is probably going to do really well on Blu-ray. Now, The Witches of Oz has this vast cast, and the idea here, I don't know who cooked this up. The idea is that Frank Lloyd Baum's granddaughter is now an author herself, and she writes Oz-based books. And as it turns out, all the characters from Oz actually really exist, and they are somehow going to show up in New York, and the Wicked Witch is going to try and conquer the world. And it's quite silly, surprisingly well done for what must have been a modest budget. Although, I got to tell you, when the wizard himself shows up and he's Christopher Lloyd, you kind of want to cry. But it is nice to see Mia Sara again, who has vanished after she did Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's like she did Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Legend, and then she just disappeared. And there was some kind of a TV miniseries that she did as well. But then her career ended, and it's nice to see her back. So, welcome back, Mia Sara. But Christopher Lloyd, please go away. Stay away from my movie screen.
Oh wait, we have a Blu-ray of Pariah, which is a film that came out late last year.
Yeah, this film won a lot of awards, actually.
It's a terrific film about this African American teen who's kind of coming of age, and her father calls her daddy's little girl. The mother is very religious, and so this kid is kind of like being pulled 2 different ways.
Totally. I know how that is. I do.
Written and directed by a talented, interesting stylist named Dee Reese. And very distinctive and a very strong voice, and I hope Dee Reese continues to make films. It's really good stuff. This is on Blu-ray. It's a low budget, but it still looks very clean and very very nice. I like this film. This is a little gem from late in 2011 called Pariah, and the bonus features include a little featurette on Dee Reese and something about Pariah's wardrobe, which you'll understand more when you see the film. And you know what? I thought this film was surprising, came out of nowhere, very empowering, very mature, very few false notes in it, and I thought it was terrific. Called Pariah. It was a bit of a Sundance thing, So that definitely helped get its street cred out there. But it's good. It's good stuff. And it takes place in Brooklyn, in Fort Greene. So you know what? I liked it. Pariah, good stuff.
Groovy. Cinema Verite is not a documentary about Cinema Verite. Cinema Verite is a film from the husband and wife team of Shari Springer Berman and Robert Pulcini, who the LA Film Critics gave their Best Picture of the Year award to some years ago for American Splendor. American Splendor is a terrific film. This is a little more of a peculiar film. It's well done. It's about such an odd subject. HBO financed this, and if you're the origins of reality television are technically in the minds of a lot of people, they're traced back to the real cinema movement, the cinema verite movement of documentaries, which was sort of anchored by a lot of people, including the Maisleys brothers and all these documentarians who wanted documentary to just be vibrant and capture the moment. And one of the seminal films in that movement was this documentary called An American Family, which is basically just the origins. It's reality television. It's just following a family around and seeing them in all of their warts and all glory for everybody to just stare at, and it's kind of painfully voyeuristic. What Pulcini and Berman decided to do was make a film about the making of that film, since they, I guess, figured it's timely now. So what we get is our movie stars like Diane Lane and Tim Robbins playing the original parents that was in that film. James Gandolfini is the filmmaker. And I think because these people are so recognizable because they're movie stars, it somehow it loses something. It loses the punch and the impact that the original An American Family had at the time. So while this is very well made and compelling on a certain level, it just kind of never quite hits its stride. But Pulcini and Berman are good filmmakers, and it's hard to not recommend something that they did, even if it winds up being kind of a curiosity. So there it is, Cinema Verite with Diane Lane, Tim Robbins, James Gandolfini.
Wade, a very strange film we'd like to talk about now. It's a thing called The Fields, which is available on DVD and on Blu-ray.
Ooh.
This is one of those films that is like one of those creep show, low-budget creepy films, supposedly based on actual events, which, of course, is completely meaningless now. But get this. Film stars Cloris Leachman.
Yes.
The class. Actually, Cloris Leachman is an Oscar winner.
I know.
Cloris Leachman and Tara Reid. So you know already.
Yeah.
Talking top shelf.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's about this kid who becomes obsessed that the Manson family is living in the cornfield in back of their house.
Of course they are.
And this is all played very seriously, although it's not very scary. And it's basically really crappy. And you know what? This is probably when Tara Reid could not get a job.
Totally.
She really, for years, she could not get a job.
I know.
And who's going to hire Cloris Leachman, God love her? So, I guess I can understand the casting. But anyway, this is pretty low-rent stuff. It takes itself way too seriously. It's not that exciting. It's not that creepy. So I would definitely pass on The Fields. And what do you got there, Wade?
I have the Mark Wahlberg film Contraband, which will be our last title this week. Mark Wahlberg and Kate Beckinsale play husband and wife in this movie about a guy who used to be a smuggler, and they pull him back in after her brother gets in bad, makes some big dumb mistakes. Anyway, you know what? Giovanni Ribisi is probably the best thing in this because he just knows the whole thing is silly. He plays this tattooed, crazy, Cajun, over-the-top drug lunatic. And the whole thing is so silly, it just doesn't really work. It's based on an Icelandic film, believe it or not, and it's directed by Baltasar Kormakur, who is something of he's a filmmaker himself in Iceland. He did was it 101 Reykjavik?
I hated that film.
But the movie that this is based on is not one that he directed. It's one that he acted in. Isn't that weird?
What?
I know, it's so strange. But anyway, it's not a very good film, and the original isn't even very good, to be honest, the original Icelandic film. But it's Mark Wahlberg trying to be kind of a more serious action star guy, and he's doing the thing that he usually does. And there's actually some interesting direction when they're coming back and the containers on the boat and the way it's all put together. But bits and pieces don't make for a complete movie. So unless you're a Mark Wahlberg fan and crazy for him, and unless Kate Beckinsale really spins her wheels, I wouldn't put too much into it. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo disc, and it's fine. It's decent. It's from Universal. They didn't go crazy on it. They just they gave it it just feels as though they're kind of coasting with this one. So, anyway, we will see you next week.